If pricing your content feels confusing, you're not alone, because 3 out of 4 photography businesses fail within the first 2 years, and bad pricing is one of the major reasons why. I know this because back in 2018, I almost became one of those stats. I was shooting constantly, but my pricing was so broken that I almost went out of business. And the part that sucked the most was that I knew brands were willing to pay top dollar for high quality projects because I was literally working on those projects as an assistant, but I just didn't know how to price myself or position myself correctly to take advantage of those projects to be able to get consistent big months. But if we fast forward to today, I've scaled to multiple 6 figures. I've also helped dozens of other creators do the same, but I've noticed a common theme of the same pricing mistakes that are keeping people broke. So in this video, I want to show you what the 3 most common pricing mistakes I see are, and if you stay to the end, I'll show you my exact recommendation for how to price your services so you can get bigger deals and more consistent income. But before we dive into all of that, I first want to share something that I wish somebody would have told me like 7 years ago when I was first starting, that literally would have saved me hundreds of hours and potentially even thousands of dollars. So oftentimes the reason that photography businesses fail is not because the photographer themselves is a failure, but more so because they take on a bunch of clients who are failures themselves. So let me explain. So back when I was first starting my photography business, I would basically take on any client who was willing to pay me because I had this mindset that as long as I do work for cheap or sometimes even free up front, then eventually the client would want to pay me full rate. And to be honest, it never really happened, but there was one specific instance that I remember kind of solidified this concept for me. So I pitched this hotel in the Caribbean and they were honestly pretty interested in what I had to offer. But when we got to the rate, I pitched my full rate and they said they didn't have the budget, and they countered me at something that was like 60% lower than what I had originally offered, which I thought was pretty low to begin with. And to be honest, I knew this client did have the budget. Like, they were charging $600 a night per room. So they absolutely had the budget for content. I know they were just trying to be sticklers, but because I wanted the client, because I thought that it could potentially turn into more work in the future, and honestly, it was just really cool, I was like, I'm not gonna rock the boat. I'll just take this gig and see what happens after that. Well, long story short, basically I charged $2,000 to shoot for an entire month, delivered tons of videos, tons of photo content, and it was honestly one of the worst experiences of my entire career. Because I was at the client's whim, they would text me at all hours of the night. They wanted a million revisions, and the worst part, the part that sucked the most, was when it came time to actually get paid. I sent the invoice, the client wanted more revisions, and basically they claimed that the content wasn't up to snuff, it wasn't satisfactory or whatever, and they refused to pay my invoice. So I was stuck spending a month of my life delivering all this content, and I didn't get paid a dime. And I can make the argument now that I should have seen the red flags, them discounting me and all this kind of stuff, but the fact of the matter is I took on this client and I still haven't been paid 4 years later. And this is why one of the best things that you can do to save yourself hassle and ultimately money is to vet your clients and to not take on sucky clients, because it'll just waste your time and you probably won't get paid that much anyways. So this sounds kind of obvious, but sometimes when clients wave money in front of you, we're willing to take it even if we know that they're probably not that great of a client. So to save you the time and hassle, this is what I define as a sucky client, which you can kind of figure out right off the bat. If they're super needy, asking a million questions before ever wanting to get on a call with you, if they don't want to follow your process at all, or if they're asking for a discount basically as soon as you say your price, or they say they can't afford it, they don't have the budget, all that kind of stuff, chances are pretty high that those are red flags and I wouldn't take that person on as a client. But assuming that you are taking on good clients that actually care about you and are decent human beings, then these are the 3 pricing mistakes that I see that are making photography businesses broke. So to illustrate the first point, imagine that you're taking your spouse or your girlfriend or something out for a nice dinner date at a steakhouse, and you ask the waiter, like, how much is it for the finest cut of meat? And the waiter responds, well, it depends. It takes about 15 minutes to cook and we charge $5 a minute. So you're looking at probably around $75 for that steak. No one ever does that. That's insane, right? Why? Because you don't pay the chef based on how long it takes them to cook the meal. You pay for the end result, which is the nice steak dinner in the fancy ambiance. But for some reason, as photographers, we choose to price ourselves this way. We say, oh, it might take me about an hour to shoot. I'll charge $100 an hour because that sounds fair. So that's how we charge the client. But the reality is, pricing yourself this way completely ignores the end value that you're actually creating. And it's kind of like a chef charging based on how long it takes him to cook the steak, not on the end value. And think about it. As you get better, you're going to get faster and more efficient at creating really good quality content. So should you be charging less because you're creating better and faster content? Well, absolutely not. But that's exactly what happens when you charge things like day rates or hourly rates. And on top of that, a lot of times you'll see that there's scope creep where the client will say, hey, can we actually fit in this one extra scene because we have you for the entire day? That happens a lot. And that's why the first pricing mistake keeping you broke is pricing based on time, because ultimately brands don't care how long it takes for you to shoot the thing, provided it's just a reasonable amount of time. What they care about is what the content will actually do for them. Which brings us to the second pricing mistake mistake. So let's say that you go to a nice car dealership looking to buy a new car. So you talk to the sales guy and you're like, hey, how much is it for a new car? And instead of him just giving you a singular price, he starts adding up all the individual components. Like, you know, the tires are $500 and we got the door is $300 and we got 6 seats here at $400 a piece. He starts adding up all these different components instead of just giving you the singular price of the car. That's insane. No one does that. No one buys a car like that. Why? It's because you buy the outcome that the car gives you, which is that you can drive the thing from A to B, but also that it checks all your boxes, that makes you look cool, all that kind of stuff. And it sounds crazy, but photographers actually make the same mistake that this wacky car salesman did when they price based on deliverables, you know, like $250 for a photo or $1,500 for a video or whatever it might be, without any regard for how each of those individual assets fit into the bigger marketing strategy. Because ultimately, brands aren't just buying a single photo or a single video. They are trying to create a campaign, a strategy, and ultimately solve a business problem. And if you don't know what that business problem they're trying to solve with content is, then you end up just selling photos or videos and it turns your work into a commodity. And the problem here is it makes it so much easier for brands to negotiate. They could say, well, instead of 10 photos, let's do 5. Or what if we buy 25? Can we do like lower the per photo rate so that it's more discounted? And you end up selling the commodity versus how each of these assets actually fit into the greater marketing strategy. So it's kind of like going to a dealership and saying, well, I just want to have a cheaper rate, so can I do 3 tires instead of 4? Like, could you buy something that way? I guess maybe, but does it achieve your goal of a fully functioning car? No. And that's why the second pricing mistake keeping you broke is pricing based on content, because ultimately brands care about the outcome, not the individual assets. Which brings me to the third pricing mistake. So I just bought this new house in Florida, but I want you to imagine for a second, what if someone showed up to my doorstep, knocked on the door, was like, yo, I love your house. Could I just pay your mortgage for a month? And then in exchange, I can live here indefinitely. Well, me as a landlord would say, absolutely not. That's never going to work. Why? Well, because you can't just pay me once and then reap the benefits of the house ongoing, because the value of the house doesn't disappear after the first time you pay me. So instead, what would I do? Well, I would charge rent where they pay me a certain amount every single month to continue to get the value out of the house. And even though it sounds ridiculous, this concept is exactly what creators are doing when they sell just their content without charging for usage or licensing. So they're essentially giving brands the ability to use the content whenever, however, and for however long they want to into the future in exchange for just a one-time fee, even though the content continues to generate money over and over and over again every single month. And I get it, most creators don't even understand that the concept of licensing is a thing, because I know I didn't, but you have to wrap your head around this. So when a brand pays you for content, yes, they're paying you to create the content and, you know, the assets and all that kind of stuff. Yes, that has some intrinsic value, but the main value they're trying to extract out of that is the ability to use that content to go make money. So your content becomes part of their marketing, their strategy, sometimes even their packaging, and it allows them to make money month after month. So it's kind of like me renting this house out to you and then you turning around and Airbnb-ing it so that you can make money without me even knowing. And that's why the third pricing mistake is charging just for deliverables and not charging for licensing and usage. So now that we've established the 3 main pricing mistakes that are keeping you broke, the real question is, well, what is the best way to actually price your work? And in my opinion, it's utilizing the growth creator pricing model. So here's how it works. So instead of pricing on time or deliverables, what you actually do is price based on the value of the end result that you're potentially bringing the client. Now, obviously this is going to vary depending on who the client is, how much money you're bringing them, what even the end goal is. So if you want to see an in-depth breakdown of me creating a custom $5,000 content offer, you're going to want to check this video here where I break it all down.